You must show some respect. Hey, what's up, fam? So, recording out here today just cause, well, the old landscapers came by and they were doing their landscaping thing, and it's noisy as shit. So I waited like 30 minutes and then I was like, they're gonna be out here for a solid 8 hours, like most people do things, or how they used to anyway. So yeah, it's Wednesday. On Wednesday, we talk about work, mastery, responsibility. Okay, so first, work. What about it? What's good work? What's bad work? Again, I'm no expert. I'm trying to figure out my own sitch, but I do know this. Know what motivates you to do work, right? Whether that's financial gain, maybe it's goals. Some people are better workers when, or they enjoy their work better when it's an actual goal, or a project, for instance, right? And then once they finish the project, they don't want to continue on stabilizing the project, building more on top of the project. They want to move on to the next one because they're like, no, this is done. I met all the requirements. And again, that goes back to what I was talking about, knowing yourself, right? Noce te ipsum, the foundation. If you know who you are, how you are, right, the type of man you are, hey, it's easier to figure out what motivates you, what drives you to do good work. So I would say the best way to do that is to try, just like before. Try different things. Try out a bunch of things. Try even different avenues of approach to the subject of work. Meaning, like, okay, for example, when I'm doing lettering, time flies. It flies. It goes by so quick, man. Before I know it, 4 hours passed, and I'm like working on this piece, or maybe I'm, the focus of that work that I was doing that day was more so, instead of working on one piece, I was like, hey, I'm just going through ideas and doing quick 5-minute sketches for lettering pieces. I keep doing this because I'm not sure how to stand this. The captain. All right, anyway, but yeah, so know what inspires you. Also, do you work better in a team? Are you a Bella or Bella? This happens every video, and it's just, I'm just gonna keep it going. So, do you work better as a team? That's something you would, or in a team, you would need to find out for your own self. Me personally, I'm more of a solo. That's my thing. Like if somebody tells me like, hey, I would need this, and this, and I'm like, okay, and then I go off and I do my thing, and I come back, I sprinkle some AK magic on it, and then put it in a bow, and then I'm like, here, this is for you. You said you wanted this. And then usually it's like, yeah, I did say that, but maybe you could change that to blue, or maybe make this shape different. That's the designer's curse, man. Anyway, so work. I changed the word from work to training. Sometimes it's how you approach even your vocabulary of how you think of work, or your perspective on work. So for me, if I take, for instance, I was talking to Jason about this. If we, Jason Hackett, shout out. If you think of work as like training, then it's a very different approach, right? You're a little more open-minded to the possibility of trying something else, something different, coming at it from another perspective, whatever the problem is while you're doing your work, right? You're willing to go and seek out new ways to do something. If you approach work as this is a training opportunity, I get to train, practice something, and perhaps even learn how to do it differently or in a better way or a more efficient way. So there's that. What was I saying? Okay, responsibility. So when I'm speaking about responsibility in this particular case, I'm talking about responsibility to your work. So in that sense, I'm talking about having a schedule, right? Now, everybody talks about schedule and all that shit, and it's all good. But the thing is if you're not actually diving deep or researching on how schedules work or best practices to implement a schedule for yourself, it's just going to be talk. All right, it's just going to be lip service, and you're not going to change shit. You're not going to do shit. Okay, so give yourself the opportunity to succeed and actually do the research on your own. I'm not going to tell you shit. You want to schedule something? First of all, have the discipline to go and research what schedules work for who, right? Because different people schedule things. Some people keep a really loose schedule and they do blocks of time, right? And they're just like, hey, from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. art, and it's just like that. And then whatever they choose, that's art, right? That could be writing, that could be drawing, that could be graphic design, right? That could be reading about art. That's just art. Their block of time to do art shit. Then the next one could be, like, hey, okay, so that was 8:30. Okay, so from 8:45, to 9:45, I'm going, I'm doing, maybe that's education. And you're going into like, okay, so I'm studying marketing, brand development, and da-da-da-da-da. But it's up to you to decide whatever that block of time. So whatever it is, you have to find out your own flow for that. Everybody's different. People do different shit. They work differently, but you gotta know where are you the most efficient and go with that strength, right? And try to guide that thing into a way where you can be like, okay, I can do my work and I can do it in a responsible way. Responsible meaning I actually get things accomplished, right? So that's another thing. Like you're seeing that there's progression. Like you're not just like, oh, you mean just like show up every day? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Showing up is great. Showing up for yourself, showing up for your work, showing up for your teammates, that's all good. But also being like focused and aware that you are in the process of training yourself, training the actions and assessing them and looking at, okay, all right, this wasn't so good. I wasn't as efficient here. I didn't look that great. A lot of that stuff also comes back to knowing yourself and being aware, okay? So that's, what else was I gonna say? Oh, and mastery. Okay, so to me, mastery is about being consistent, okay? If I wanna be good at anything, the moment I decide that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be good at lettering, all right? I was like, okay, what does that mean, right? Because to want to be good is great. I want to be good at a lot of things. I want to be great at few things. Now, what's the difference about wanting and then actually moving forth, right? Action. That's the only difference. Action. But it's not just the act of action. It's deliberate action, right? The practice of being good. A lot of action that is involved in progressing in anything is the focus on the details, okay? So that's a big part. So when you're moving through being through your work, being responsible to your work and mastery of your work, when you start getting into the level of like, because there's stages to everything, right? There's levels to everything. So once you start getting into the mastery of it, you'll notice that you actually almost go backwards a little bit to the foundation of what got you started, or the fundamental fact like of typography and layout. Like I go back and study that in the sense for lettering now. This, I'm just speaking about lettering. This applies to anything else too. Like for jiu-jitsu, you might be, let's say you go back and reassess your hip escape because you're like, damn, you know, I keep getting caught up in side control, or I keep getting mounted and I can't get out, or whatever it is. But I'm just making a reference. But then you're like, man, maybe I really need to figure out what's up with my hip escape, find the flaws, you know, like, are my connections there, da 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 da. But, and for art, it's the same. It's all the same. That the whole, the mastery of anything, cooking, you know, training, I mean physical training, and then training or learning a thing, it's all the same. The process is all the same. It's just like how do you know to use the process for the type of person that you are? Noche te ipsum, right? Know thyself. So know what works in your approach, and then know how things like fall off. Like you're just like, nah, I mean, because some people give you some advice and it may be very sound for them. And for you, you're like, fuck, I tried that and it doesn't work. And that's it. That's all I got. So what do we go over? Work, responsibility, mastery. Work, responsibility, mastery. Okay, so whatever you do those things. Because as a man, you have to be doing something in that sense. I don't care what it is. It could be cooking, it could be yoga, it could be art, could be writing, could be jiu-jitsu, could be boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, could be whatever it is, man. But just, if you go through the approach, and there's books and things that you can find and resources, but again, like when I see somebody looking for research, or they're asking me for a book or something like that, I'm so excited for them. I'm so psyched for them, because now they're like, it's their path. They're gonna read the book and get something completely different than how I read the book and what I got out of it. They might pick up a detail that they might tell me about, and I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't even notice that. So seek it out for yourself. Do not wait for anyone to give you the answers. You need them to come from you. That's why I say the answers are worth the risk. Worth the risk of your time, worth the risk, or the price of your time, the risk of your time, and worth the risk of finding out that maybe your approach was wrong. Answers are worth the risk. They're out there. Do good things. Wash your hands. I'm done. Thank you. Namaste.